We're here at Ultimo Interiors today talking to designer Andrew Thornton-Hick, who's just come back from Milan, so we're going to go see what's new. Come on in. Andrew, how was it this year? What did you see and what was new?
Oh, it was great. A lot of people were expecting it to be a quieter show than the last few years, you know, after the GFC and so on, sort of knocking on, and there'd be a spill down effect. But it was very busy. There was perhaps a quieter contingent from Australia there this year, but I think overall numbers were quite high. The organisers were pretty happy with it, and it was a great event, really great event.
And so tell us, what are some of the design trends that you see coming to Australia?
Yeah, okay. The easiest trends to transfer to Australia are things of finish, texture and colour. And moving on from last year's big trend of colour through teal and turquoise, there's still a lot of those colours coming through on larger items, people being a bit braver about that, not just accessory accents and cushions and things, but actually full sofas, beds, upholstered walls, things like that in those colours. But there was a lot of green coming through, which is interesting because it's actually happening at the same time as on the catwalk for fashion. So sort of emerald, dirty emerald colours, soft jades, that very kind of almost a great colour in New Zealand, that kind of greenstone colour they have for a lot of their ornaments and jewellery and so on. A lot of that coming through, a lot of copper tones in metal. There were 2 or 3 companies that come to mind where all the metal work on complete living ranges were done in copper, which was fantastic. Bright, different, vibrant. And there's a bit of the high tech coming through, I think a lot to do with the Tron film coming out, the Capellini pieces, also a lot of the Korean pieces which they'd done for the film set, had those neon, real neon blues coming into it, but streamlined kind of styling, and it was a good push towards the future. I thought it was interesting, really good.
So what other trends did you see whilst you were there?
The colour blocking idea was also quite interesting, going into texture blocking. So you might have a much brighter, more bold colours onto upholstery, but then colour blocking that into textures as well, so there might be 5 or 6 different textured cushions coming through. But what was most fascinating for me was more of a cultural story, which is more history blocking. So you might have the latest sofa design from a company, but then they've reissued a chair they designed in the 60s or 40s or 50s. And so you've got this old against new, but also these bright colours and textures coming in together. So it's not just putting those juxtapositions of colour and texture together, but also historical pieces that are dealing with different technologies, different styles and different eras, really, right next to one another, which I think was quite fascinating.
So Andy, I've also seen some beautiful pictures of two-tone lounges and cushions that have come back from Milan.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, I think it was another way of getting more texture into an interior, getting more layers, getting a deeper kind of feel. You kind of had this two-tone deal, especially with Desadie, famous for their leathers, very controversial actually, putting all the fabrics in, so they had complete fabric sofas, but they would do this two-tone effect where the cushions are fabric on one side, leather on the back, so you could either have the contrast showing, or you could just have little hints of it coming around the edges of the cushions, which was really nicely done. You also had happening a lot of the wood finishes. You saw tables that had inlays in different veneers, so you had the two tones happening there. And even in some of the metal frames on chairs, you had this concept where the backrest would overlap from both sides, and you have one side in one finish and the other in an alternate finish, even in the metalwork on some pieces. So it's quite interesting to get more finishes and more depth happening just in individual pieces.
And as well as designing, you're also the brand manager here at Ultimo Interiors. So do we get a little sneak peek about what's coming?
Yeah, there's a couple of really interesting brands we're negotiating with at the moment, but we have signed up a fantastic new rug company, which last year one of the most interesting rugs at the show was the mashup rug from Kaimo, which is very much a reinterpretation of the classic sort of the Persian rug kind of idea. But it was $25,000 US a piece, so it made it quite exclusive. So we've got another rug company on board that's doing a really fantastic range, one to watch out for. They've just done all the diesel showrooms in Europe, and they've done some pretty amazing resorts, so that's certainly quite exciting. The other big news is on the outdoor range. So last year we brought on board Varishan. Got some great new collections from them they've done, some new soft colours and sort of taupe and mushroom coloured high gloss finishes for outdoor, which is great. But also a brand new company for us is Royal Britannia out of Belgium, who are now on board. Fantastic, beautiful modernist pieces, simple clean lines but solid and sturdy for outdoors, which is what we need in Perth. So yeah.
Fantastic. So if people want to keep an eye out for what's going to be coming to Ultimo, where should they look?
Keep on the website, keep on the blog. There'll be also our hot picks and trend report coming out on that as well. But there's also a lot of new pieces also from Rolf Bands, fantastic new wood finishes from Hulster coming through, and you'll see those rugs on there soon as well.
Fantastic.